It's fairly much, it's a lot later than it normally is. However, we're here in St Arnaud in Victoria, and we've been attending a couple of meetings today that are to do with the electricity, the renewable energy, the transmission lines, all the windmill towers, all the wind turbines, the wind generators that are supposed to be wind generators. And so this has happened, and we did think that at 12:30, when we do our normal live, we would have enough coverage at one of the venues to do our live. Anyway, we haven't. So we left, we went to a meeting in Tragowel, which also was in Victoria earlier on today, and then we had to hightail it straight over here to St Arnaud because they had a second one. And these were some of the meetings that were put on by Dr. Anne Webster, who's the National Party member for Mallee. And there's been some farmers here. There was supposed to be representatives here of the power companies and so on, but anyway, they've pulled out. So we'll get. We might talk a lot more about this tomorrow, and I just wanted to say that what we wanted to talk about today was what we need to do in order to get people to understand the things that we need to do to win, to first of all understand what's going wrong and what we need to do to try and win this. And as we've discussed briefly before, the biggest problem we have with everything that's going wrong in Australia, wiping out of our farmers and food and our energy sector, is that our politicians are giving the WEF and the UN and the WHO the powers they need to destroy us. So, what we want to look at is to say, let's identify the problem here, and that is the politicians, and then let's work out a strategy of what to do about it. So, whereas for the World Economic Forum to get all their policies over the line in order to cause us incredible harm, we need to understand that the politicians vote their legislation in. You might think that certain things that come up in Parliament, the politicians are the ones who come up with it. Well, they're not. They're taking instructions from basically an international, could you say terrorist organisation? Let's just suggest that it might be, for the point of not being too specific and upsetting the grubs in the social media side of it. So our idea and what we want to do, and this is only going to be a fairly short live today, the idea that we want to do is to start identifying that we need to put pressure on our politicians, and we need to come up with the strategies to do that. And so we've been talking to people, and people who are equally as angry at the fact that our politicians just give these people the power, and we need to push back on them. That's going to be one of the answers to our problem, because if we don't stop that, then they're just going to continue to push through the legislation that these people need to attack us and take us down. And we're seeing examples of that all over the place. And this is the one area where we've failed, where we've fallen down, where we haven't done that. So just a quick one today to say that we're working on strategies in order to put together groups of people and communities where we can start to address these issues and start to put together the strategies to push back on these politicians. And it doesn't matter whether they're federal, state or local. We need to really push hard, because they need to feel that the Australian people are turning against them, because they've had no pressure. And they go and vote this stuff in, and they walk away scot-free. They still get their, they still get their fortune that they're paid. They've got their snouse in the trough, and they're working on your money to sell you out. So we need to put the pressure on them. We need to go back and do it how it used to be done. And we need to turn up at their places, at the events they go to. When I say their places, I mean their electoral offices and places where they are in public. I'm not talking about their personal residences at all. And I'm certainly not talking about any kind of physical pressure on them. But we need to put community pressure. We need to bring the people together, because the people have the answers. Where the old saying, we the people, and talking about democracy, and the politicians work for us. Well, at the minute, they're not. At the minute, they are working for our enemies. Well, the vast majority of politicians it's probably not fair to say all of them, but the vast majority of them, and particularly the 4 major parties, all of them, they are working for our enemies. So we need to really start to put our strategies together, build our groups, and then start our rosters, to start our names of people who are prepared to turn up and really put this into action. Because the one thing they don't like is if you put pressure on them in the public arena and at their offices, because that's what that's for. They're working for us, supposed to be, and we need to take our power and push back on them. Because I can tell you right now, being to these meetings today about all the renewable energy stuff that's going on here, we've got a huge number of issues, really serious stuff that are going through the Parliament now. They're being signed into law. We're seeing agreements and contracts being made, and we're seeing an enormous shift in power, and we're seeing an enormous shift in ownership rights. The people who think that they have the ownership rights of their properties, and I've been talking to a lot of farmers here today, and many of them are starting to grumble a little bit. They're starting to go, well, 12 months ago they thought, it's just all conspiracy theories. And the farmer community now is starting to wake up. They're starting to say, hang on, something's wrong. They're seeing everything's going on overseas. So it's slow, it's like pulling teeth. But we even found, some people who are following Billboard Battalion, they're following what we're doing and all that sort of thing. So we're starting to make impacts. So just wanted to flag what the plans were. This is our strategy, so we'll fine-tune this in the very near future and start putting that together, because that's the answer to our problem. When people say, you've got to come up with solutions, these are the solutions, then we'll put the strategy together completely, and then it's up to us. It's up to we the people. And now we the people are starting to work out that we are getting screwed over, and we're going to cop it hard. And this is a deliberate strategy, a specific strategy, and many of our politicians are helping them to do it. So just a quick one from St Arnaud in Victoria, Australia. We've been to the water meetings here. Today is Thursday, the 9th of March. 7th of March, sorry. Yeah, Thursday the 7th of March 2024. And so it's been a good day to catch up with a lot of people and see what's happening on the ground and what people's thoughts are. And so we'll do some more about this, what's happening to the farmers and all the transmission lines and the wind turbines tomorrow. We'll look at that and give a report of that, a pretty good report, because that'll be very interesting, because we're starting to see a lot of patterns that have happened in the past. Anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow. So that's where we're at for today. So just remember, share all our stuff. It's a shame that we couldn't get to air at 12:30 today, but anyway, we tried, but we just couldn't get the coverage and the service. So part of the deal, I suppose, have been on the road as well and trying to get to other venues to cover these meetings. All right, thanks very much, people. Wade Northhausen here for Billboard Battalion, and we'll pull the pin at that, and thanks very much for watching.